Game week 4 predictions, let's get right into it. At Luton West Ham, this is the first game where Luton will be playing at Kenilworth Road in the Premier League. Obviously they would have had one a couple of weeks ago, but their game got called off against Burnley because it wasn't ready. And they are not going to have an easy game here because they're coming up against a side who have won 2 of their first 3 games. And those games are against Chelsea, who dominate Luton, and Brighton, who dominate Luton. I think West Ham win this, not comfortably, I think it'll be quite close. I'm going 2-1. With it being their first home game, I do think Luton will have a much improved performance, and they need to because their first 2 games have not been very good. But this West Ham side just look really good right now. Antonio and Bowen are firing, Ward-Prowse settled in really well, Paquetá's again playing really well. The defence looks solid, they've still got Mavropanos to come into that defence as well. They've been linked with Hugo Ekitike of PSG. So yeah, just West Ham look really good. I think this is a game they should fancy themselves in. However, with it being away at a newly promoted side who haven't been in the league for ages, it could be a tough one. I remember they played away at the City Ground last year for Forest's first home game of the season, and yeah, it was a very good atmosphere there. And I do expect a decent atmosphere at Kenilworth Road. Sheffield United against Everton, 2 teams who are yet to pick up any points. They're the only 2 teams so far that have played 3 games and lost all 3. However, both sides have improved in terms of recruit. Like Everton have just signed Beto, I don't know how you say his name, a striker which they desperately need. Sheffield United have also signed a striker in Cameron Archer. At Bramall Lane, with how resilient Sheffield United were against Manchester City and the fact they almost got something out of that, I do think that they'll win. I'm going 2-1 Sheffield United. Everton away at Villa were awful. If this was at Goodison Park, I would expect Everton to win. But this is a relegation 6-pointer if we're going to be realistic here. Everton just lost the relegation 6-pointer on Saturday, and I think they'll lose another one here. Away from home, I'm not sure about Everton. They're going to have to make Goodison Park a fortress, and with their new signing, they should be able to convert some of their chances because they have created a lot of chances. You know, that is something that I can give them credit for. They're just not able to finish him off. However, now they should be able to do that a bit better. But with Sheffield United, they defended really, really well against Manchester City. I would expect them to be a bit more attacking in this game, so it should allow us to see a bit more of Hamer, and if Cameron Archer starts, a bit more of him as well. Baldock's been linked with a move away, but Bogle is now back, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue for him. Although it's very early in the season, this could be a game that they look back on at the end of the season and think, wow, if we just won that, we could still be in this league. Brentford against Bournemouth. I think this will be a tight game. I'm going 2-2. Brentford, to be fair, at home have been second best in both games. Like, they haven't really created a lot. They're dangerous on the counter-attacks, and Bournemouth are a team that like a lot of possession. So that will probably allow a few counter-attacking opportunities for Brentford. But Bournemouth, you know, in all their games, I have been impressed with the quality of chances they can create. Semenyo's looked dangerous. Billing had a chance against Tottenham, which he probably should have scored. Solanke hasn't really had enough opportunities yet. He did score on the opening day, but you know, I think they do need to try and find them a bit more in the box. And that could be tough with this very defensive Brentford side, but I do expect it to be a decent game. I'm going 2-2. Hopefully Bournemouth take it, but Brentford on the counter-attacks are very dangerous, and Bournemouth defensively have looked a little shaky at times so far, so I would expect Brentford to score at least 1, but I do have Mbama in my FPL team, so hopefully he scores at least 1 of those goals. If he could score both, I will take that. Burnley against Tottenham. Burnley've actually had 3 home games in a row now, obviously with that Luton game getting called off. They've lost their previous 2, and I think they're going to lose again 2-0 Tottenham. Although Tottenham got knocked out of the cup on Tuesday, I just don't expect them to not win this. It's looking so good. They rotate for that cup game, so they're going to have all their starters back. Charleston also scored in that Fulham game, so it should help his confidence a bit. He hasn't scored in the Premier League yet, but Maddison will continue to create a lot of chances. Sons look good as well. The Bissouma and Saab look fantastic. Defensively, they've looked good. So yeah, Burnley, again, it's just going to be too tough a test in my opinion. They're going to try and control the ball. They might have some chances, but Vicaria's looked solid. The defence overall has just looked really solid as well. I wouldn't expect anything other than Tottenham win here. Chelsea against Nottingham Forest. Now, as I'm recording this, Chelsea haven't played that game against Wimbledon yet, so they might have some injuries or something. But they've also been heavily linked with Cole Palmer, and they had a bid rejected, but they expected to get him. That's a huge signing for Chelsea. He's a really good player, and I don't understand why Manchester City are letting him go. In the very limited games he's played, he's looked very good. They've lost Riyad Mahrez. I feel like he's an obvious replacement for him. He can play in that position, and he's looked very good there. Pep just keeps wanting to buy big players instead, you know. Manchester City's academy is very good. These players need a chance. Give Palmer a chance, Pep, man. Don't give him to Chelsea, because he's going to go there and he'll be a world beat. He'll score 20 goals this season. There's also been a lot of rumoured activity for Nottingham Forest. Like, Brennan Johnson could be leaving, but they've been linked with a new striker, they've been linked with a new midfielder and 2 new defenders as well. They've been linked with a lot of players. A couple of them, I believe, from Serie A. I predicted Forest finished 12th, so I'm actually happy to see movement for them, because I do think that defensively they're not great. They have already signed a new centre-back. I think they're linked with another one potentially. So that's good, because obviously when the end of the season comes around, I don't want to see Forest down in 17th and costing me 5 points. With all that being said, I do think Chelsea take it. I'm going 2-1. They look really impressive in that game against Luton. And I know it's only Luton, but Sterling has looked really good this season, and I've never rated him, but I will admit this season he's looked excellent. Jackson scored his first goal as well, so he should be full of confidence. He'll probably score again here. But don't for us have Taiwo Wanyi, who has scored in each of his last 7 games, 9 goals in those 7 games as well. And Forest, although they did score 2 goals at Old Trafford, and I can see it being a 2-2 or 3-2 or something, I do think Chelsea are much more solid than Manchester United defensively. They're not as reliant on the goalkeeper. Forest did bottle that lead at Old Trafford, so, you know, there's clearly a gap in defence like I was talking about. And I do think that with Jackson scoring, with how good Sterling's been, and if Palmer's coming as well, they're going to have some really good attackers. But this is a bit of a thing with Chelsea. They've got so many players. What's going to happen to Madueke? What's going to happen to Mudryk? They've got too many players again. Although this time there are better players. Like last season just had a lot of trash. This season they've got some actually decent players, to be fair. Manchester City against Fulham. Now I predicted Fulham to get battered by Arsenal last week. I say bad, I only predicted 3-0, but I did say it could have been 6-0 if Havertz weren't playing, but I got that wrong. They beat Tottenham in the Cup, but I do think going to the Etihad they're going to get smashed. I'm going 4-0 Man City. Erling Haaland probably going to score 2 or 3 goals. I might triple captain him. I'll update you on that when the review comes out if I actually decide to do it. Right now I'm on the fence, but potentially could be happening. To be fair, I think I've been a bit harsh on Fulham. They've actually looked alright in their games, even against Brentford when they pretty much got battered. They were done very dirty by VAR and the referee. You know, they shouldn't have been down to 10 men. That really took them out of the game. But Manchester City are they're so strong, especially at home, man. No one's going to go there and win. Brighton and Hove Albion against Newcastle. Both sides coming off some pretty poor results over the last weekend. Both of them lost games, which they probably shouldn't have, especially Newcastle. I'm so disappointed in Newcastle, man. This is the game between the 2 teams that I probably like the most in the Premier League. Last year at the Amex, Brighton absolutely dominated but ended 0-0, and at St James's, Newcastle dominated but actually won 4-1 in the end. It was very dominant. I think it'll be a draw. I'm going 1-1. Brighton have completed the signing of their Moises Caicedo replacement in Baleba. Newcastle looking at some new centre-backs with news that Sven Botman could be out for a while. They could also move Byrne into central defence and bring in Lewis Hall, who they signed. There's Tino Livramento there, who can play at full-back as well on either side. So they've got options again, but I do think that they need another centre-back just for this exact situation, especially with the Champions League coming up. If, let's say, Shaw was to get an injury or Botman, you know, was out for longer than expected, it's good to have another option in there. With Brighton apparently have been linked with Smith Rowe. I don't know if that was just a bait post I saw or if it was actually real, but he would look really good in that team. Don't know why Arsenal would let him go. We're going to get on to Arsenal in a minute. Although Brighton lost against West Ham, they created a lot of chances, and it was just unfortunate for them that Areola was so good. And it was a shame for them that Adam Webster had a horrible performance. Antonio just bullied him. Isak could also bully him, but against Liverpool, he just kept dropping too deep, man. Get up there, Isak, man. You're in my FPL team. I need some points. I think that this is going to be a very good game, hopefully. Even if Newcastle were to lose this, I hope they don't start to lose hope, because they will still do very well this season. I believe in Eddie Howe a lot. That's my guy. Best manager in the world. Crystal Palace against the Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves have also been very busy in the last couple of days. Matheus Nunes is supposedly leaving to Manchester City, but they're going to get Tommy Doyle in from Manchester City. He was on loan at Sheffield United last season, did fairly well. They've also signed some 18-year-old, and they've signed a defender from Spain, who's Uruguayan. So, you know, they're building an okay squad, and I'm really sad about this, because I hate Wolves and I want them down. I just wanted them I wanted them dead, man. I wanted to get no points and just get down into the Championship, but they actually might survive. Gary O'Neill's done well with the squad. The Matheus Nunes has been a big part of why they've looked decent, and if he's now gone, you know, we don't know how Tommy Doyle will adapt to this Wolverhampton Wanderers team. we don't know if he's Premier League standard right now. I feel like if he was, Sheffield United would have probably pushed a bit harder to try and sign him. And with that being said, I think Crystal Palace will win 2-0. With Núñez going, it does look, unfortunately, like Eberechi will be stuck at Palace. I really wanted him to be the one going to Man City, man, because we need the money. And he would look so good in that team. I do think Palace take it. They look decent against Brentford. Against Arsenal, they weren't great, but on the opening day against Sheffield United, again, they were very good. I would expect them to win at home. Liverpool against Aston Villa. This is going to be a good game. Aston Villa currently have not played their Conference League qualifier, so I'm calling this. I don't expect them to play a lot of starters because they're 5-0 up and they're home here, so they shouldn't really throw this away. I'd expect starts for Tim Burnham. Obviously, us at QPR love him. Hopefully, he does well. However, they might actually start some play. You know, I mean, it is Emery. He wants to, you know, win every single game. And going away to Anfield is going to be tough for him. I can see Villa getting a result here, but I do think Liverpool will take it. I'm going 2-1. I can see it being 2-2. I can also see Villa taking it because they've got players like Diaby who are so devastating on the break especially. Both fullbacks have looked excellent in Digne and Cash. Ollie Watkins hasn't exactly started firing yet, but he's Ollie Watkins. We know what he can do. Defensively, they've looked a lot more solid compared to their first game, and they've got Clement Longley coming in on loan as well. This will be a tight game. You know, I think it will be close, but I do expect Liverpool to win. And the final game, the big one, Arsenal-Manchester United. I'm going 3-1 Arsenal. I am basing this off the assumption that Arteta will stop playing Havertz and stop fucking around with this, you know, free back, whatever, party going into midfield from right back and all this bollocks. Just go back to basics, you know, put Gabriel back in the team, and you'll win this comfortably because Manchester United defensively have looked dreadful. Right, going forward, they were decent last game when they scored 3 against Nottingham Forest, which is why you put 4 defenders there. That shouldn't really be an issue. So if Havertz plays this game, I think Manchester United will probably win it. I would go 2-1 Man United then, but I am hoping that Arteta has come to his senses and is going to stop shoehorning a very bad player into a system that doesn't work for the rest of the players. But if Arsenal don't win this, then they can kiss their title race goodbye. This is another game. It's a tough game against a tough opponent, but they're at home and they won here last season. They've improved their squad. They should not be dropping points here, and especially considering they dropped points last game, they can't afford it again. I don't think they will, you know, if they were to win here. Losing Smith Rowe would be stupid because he's a very good player, miles better than Kai Havertz. And I saw Chelsea were linked with him, and if he goes there, then again, I think Arteta has got to answer a lot of questions. Manchester United, they still haven't really got the midfield sorted. They still haven't put in an official bid for Amrabat. They've been linked with getting Cucurella on loan. He's so bad. Why do you want him, man? Just use your brain here, please. Ten Hag's talent ID is just so poor, man. Like the other left backs were linked with Reguilon, who he's terrible. He couldn't even get in the Spurs team. Like they had to loan him out because of our values. Like, why do you want him, bruv? He's got to stop this. He's not at Ajax anymore. He's not going to be able to dominate the league with the same players that dominated that league. You know, he needs to learn to use other players. It's a game I expect Arsenal to win. For the sake of the title race, I hope Arsenal do win it because I think they're more likely to be able to challenge Man City than Manchester United are. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you soon for another video.